Hey, what's up everyone? Alyssa Knight here with another exciting episode of KnighTV. And if this is our first time meeting, I'm sorry. This channel is all about hacking and securing embedded systems. So now you know me, and let's get on with the show. So today's special guest is Gabrielle Hempel. And you guys may know her as Gab Smash on Twitter. She's an ethical hacker, cloud security architect, security analyst, just all around cool cat. So if you've been wanting to learn how to break into cybersecurity, if you want to learn more about Gab Smash and the walls that she's been smashing down in cybersecurity, this is definitely an episode you do not want to miss. So sit back, relax, grab that cup of joe, and join us for another exciting episode of KnighTV. Greg went out looking for a hack.
No, it's something I really find interesting because I used to work on cars. So.
Oh, you're kidding! I had no idea.
Yeah.
So you're an auto mechanic turned hacker, or what?
Yeah.
Shut the front door. Are you serious?
Neuroscientist turned hacker. So.
Oh my God. Okay, I have to hear this story. I gotta hear it.
Oh, I'm touching myself tonight.
So, well, when I was in college, I worked as a mechanic.
Okay.
I paid through college and worked full-time as a mechanic. It was really interesting. I loved cars. I grew up around like Volkswagens. So
wow.
Those are
like working on Passats and Cabriolets.
Yeah. No, I love them.
That's
I've
amazing.
actually only ever owned Volkswagens personally, which is crazy. But
oh my God.
Yeah, so like did that. I worked at Volkswagen for a while, worked at like a couple of random shops and stuff like that. I loved doing it. It was something that I really enjoyed, but I knew I didn't want to do it as like my forever career.
Right. It's not what you wanted to do when you grew up.
But it was one of those things where when you worked like a 12-hour day working on other people's cars, like the last thing you wanted to do was go home and like do it as a hobby, you know? And
it's like
the joy in that.
Yeah, it's like working at the restaurant, not wanting to actually eat the food when you've been around it all day.
Yes. So I hung up that hat and it was kind of a hobby. You know, I'd been in college for psychology and neuroscience. So
oh wow.
That was kind of my first career was
neuroscience.
Yes.
Oh my God. So you're like super smart.
Did we just become best friends? Yup. Do you want to go do karate in the garage? Yup.
Happened on accident. I originally was really interested in psychology, and it kind of the science side of it became really interesting to me and kind of morphed into neuroscience.
Right.
But yeah, so I worked in like pharmaceutical regulation for a while, doing like pharmacokinetic reviews for FDA studies and other things like that. And then I fell into information security by way of medical devices. So.
Oh, so okay, so they just walked up to you and said, hack these medical devices, or what happens?
No, so the position I was in, I was doing a lot of regulatory stuff with pharmaceuticals, but also medical devices. So we would get these reports from the FDA and medical device manufacturers and stuff saying, hey, like we were informed that there's this vulnerability on this. And I didn't understand what the reports were saying, and I wanted to. So
you're like, what's a vulnerability?
Yeah, it was like, what are people doing? Is this when people are hacking these? Like, what is going on? Who would do that? Why would you do that? I had so many questions. So kind of just started reading more about it, and I was like, wow, this is an area I'm really, really interested in. And then I was dating someone who worked in an adjacent field at the time, and he was like, oh, well, you can't just go into security. You have to like pay your dues. You have to work as like a help desk and then like sysadmin. He's like, it'll be like 20 years before you can do anything in security. And I was just like, no.
What? You're like, no.
How about no, you crazy Dutch bastard?
I was like, there's gotta be a way. So yeah, I just started learning a lot, but that was kind of my first focus, the way that I was able to start understanding a lot of the concepts in security was by way of medical devices, because I was already
Oh my
familiar with
God.
the function of those on like a clinical level.
Right.
And I was able to be like, oh, okay, like this is what they mean by like a buffer overflow attack. And then like people trying to do that on the software for the medical devices. And it was just
Oh my
like,
God.
I don't know, it put it in a context where I was able to kind of understand it more so than just looking at a computer, you know?
So what were those things running? Like Linux or don't tell me Windows.
Some of them have really old Windows, yeah.
Oh my
I
God.
think the ones that I was working with were XP based. And it was like,
Holy cow.
and
Oh
it's
my
really
God.
funny.
Oh, Eternal Blue.
So I still work as like a consultant sometimes for my old company, and we do mostly like genetic, like so studies I work on are recombinant DNA studies. So they take like people's DNA and like re-engineer it and stuff like that. It's really cool. But there's like a lot of regulation behind it, obviously, because like FDA and NIH get super involved in all of that. But yeah, they're used for cancer a lot. The CAR T cell studies that you hear about, like the immunotherapy and everything, like, so I still get to do that sometimes, but part of my duties as doing that is actually like visiting the infectious disease labs in like some of the hospitals where some of these are administered, just because they're super stringent about some of the like the biosafety things.
Right.
We basically have to see it like for ourselves and sign off on it. And I get so distracted. They always I go to the same site like a couple times a year, a lot of times, and they always make fun of me because I always get really distracted by their software because they're running like Windows XP, and I'm like, what are you doing? Like there's health data in there, please.
Oh my God. So, okay. So have you figured out what you want to do when you grow up? Has that been determined? Like, is it I mean, obviously, okay. So just for our audience, like their own edification, you are a penetration tester, correct? You're not a SOC analyst.
So I started out as kind of a SOC analyst.
Okay.
Actually, yeah, that was kind of like my first foray into the field. And then I got signed on as like a junior pen tester.
Okay.
With a small company, and they started showing me the ropes and everything. So I still do some of that, but I also work as a cloud security engineer right now, which is really interesting because I don't have a ton of cloud experience.
It went up to the cloud!
And you can't get it down from the cloud?
Nobody understands the cloud. It's a mystery!
Like,
Wow, that's amazing. So like for like doing AWS or Azure stuff or?
Yeah, AWS and Azure, I think Oracle, and I think there's talk about Google's cloud capabilities too, which is going to be really interesting.
GCP, oh my God.
So it's a new world for me because when I was doing more of the analyst side of things, everything I worked with was on-prem. So just night and day sometimes. Some of the stuff's really similar. Other stuff is super different just depending on what you're trying to do. But
Right.
yeah, so I'm getting to do like a little bit of whatever there. I get to do some like red team, some blue team stuff, just depending on who needs what done.
Okay. So you're not a one trick pony. You got the analytical side as well as the
like all of
adversarial
it.
side. What's that?
It's really fun to break. I said I like all of it. It's really fun
Yeah.
to break things sometimes, like, you know, red team and find vulnerabilities and things like that. But it's also really, really fun to
Detect
kind of,
it.
yeah, play the other side and
Yeah.
like see even like the digital forensics side of things, like see what information you can find, and like it's kind of like reverse putting together a puzzle, I guess.
Right. Yeah. So what's been your favorite thing over these past few years, you know, focusing in this area? Like, is it the blue team? Is it, you know, or is it all of the above?
It's really, I really like both for different reasons.
Okay.
You know, I like the red team because I do find that you use a lot of like the psychology. I use a lot of the psychology that I learned.
Oh, interesting.
For red teaming, and people are always a little surprised at first when I say that, but I mean, you have to put yourself in the shoes of someone who wants information,
Right.
because it's usually what they're going after, or money. I mean,
Right.
information.
All of the above.
Yeah, or whatever they can get, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. It really helps to be able to kind of think like an attacker, and I mean, it helps it in blue team too, but it's kind of fun to, I guess, kind of change your way of thinking and realize that you need to think maybe differently than you would think in your everyday life in order to do some of these things. But I like the red team because it's like, oh, what happens if we try this? What happens if we try this?
Right.
It's very experimental in a lot of times. I mean, obviously, like when you have specific pen tests, I think there's protocol that you go by and everything. But a lot of it is seeing like what vulnerabilities are out there. And blue team is it also uses a lot of psychology. You're sitting there saying, okay, like if I were this person, what would I do? And how am I going to secure against that? And
right.
I don't know. Yeah.
Think like the breaker, which you have experience in doing. So it's almost like, just dual personality,
it's Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde.
Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Exactly. That's amazing. So, okay. So how long ago was that conversation, where you were being given advice where it was going to take 20 years? How many years ago was that?
That was like about 2 years ago.
So, okay, so you're this far along in 2 years. So you are just on the fast track program of life. Like, it was really crazy. I've got no patience.
A lot of things happened. Yeah. And it's been really interesting because I went into a security analyst position pretty much not having any IT or technical background.
Okay.
And it was really interesting. And I'm still doing this, I think, to some extent, but I kind of had to build my career backwards. Like, yeah. I was suddenly working as a security analyst and it was awesome. And I was learning all of this really security specific stuff. But I started realizing like there were holes in my knowledge. Like I didn't have a lot of networking knowledge and I didn't have a lot of like just basic like these are Linux commands knowledge, like I kind of started.
Yeah, it's going backwards. Yeah, it's just reverse engineering it in a way. So okay, if you could go back in time and talk to, Gabby from 2 years ago, Gabby, like what would you tell her? What you know now, based on what you know now.
Next Saturday night, we're sending you back to the future.
Okay, all right, Saturday's good.
Man, that's like such a crazy thought. I haven't even thought of it like that. But I would just be like, don't listen to him. Don't give up. I mean, there were times when it was really frustrating. It's hard to get a job in a field where you don't have any experience.
Right.
And
yeah.
I mean, I had probably like 50 people say no before I had one person willing to take a chance on me.
Oh, okay. So that's great advice for other women wanting to break into cybersecurity, or anyone in general is, you will get no's a lot, and it's just not giving up. It's continuing to put that resume out there.
Yes, and I think a lot of it, we see people's successes, even on Twitter. Like you see people are like, oh, I got this job with this company, and you're just like, wow, that's amazing. But they're not going around posting every time that they get rejected from a job.
Yeah, they don't talk about their fails.
Exactly, and then you start comparing yourself to people's, best, and I remember thinking that. I was like, man, it seems like these people get jobs like overnight. And I'm just like, I've been interviewing for 6 months trying to get into the field.
Right.
And yeah, it's just one of those things. It's a frustrating process. And I mean, even if you have experience, it can be a frustrating process. And
sure. Oh yeah,
really
for sure.
Not give up. Because like I said, you're not seeing everyone else's failures, but I can promise you everyone's pretty much in the same boat there.
How did you prepare for your interviews? I mean, you had no idea what you're up against in a cybersecurity interview. Like, how did you prepare?
I was like, I hope they don't ask basic questions.
Like, what are the fields of the IP header?
What are no, really just, I guess, I spent a lot of time, like, looking up that type of role. Like, obviously, like, on Glassdoor, you can see, like, people who, if it's a bigger company, people who've interviewed with the company.
Yeah.
Or like if I had someone that like I knew that worked at the company, I would be like, hey, like, do you know what this interview is like? Like, what kind of questions are they going to ask? And a lot of times I didn't know, but almost just doing like recon for the interviews. Going online. Yeah, literally interview OSINT, like going online and being like, okay, like what do security analysts usually get asked in interviews? And sometimes I would like not make flashcards because that's kind of crazy, but like write down notes.
There's nothing wrong with flashcards. No.
Oh, I know. I have AWS flashcards right here. But I would like write down notes and be like, hey, like I know this, but like I don't know. Sometimes I get asked a question and just mine goes blank too. So
Yeah. Well, what was like the hardest interview? Like, what was the worst interview in that whole process? And you don't have to say the name. Like,
no.
why was it the worst interview, and what
Like
happened?
worst in terms of
Just like some beads of sweat coming down your
because I
forehead.
had
It's
some
like
where people were
run
rude, and
through
then I
the
had
room.
others that were just hard. So
Oh,
yeah, there was one that stands out to me, and I don't actually mind saying the name of the company because it was a good experience overall. Twitter. I actually
oh
interviewed at
wow!
Twitter.
You interviewed at Twitter. Oh my
I
God!
did.
The fact that you got an interview is huge.
Yeah, I got an interview and I had a phone interview, and then they flew me out there and I got to see like their San Francisco headquarters, which was so cool. And it was such a good process. I love the team. What it came down to was they wanted someone with some more specific knowledge in the area that they were hiring.
Oh,
And I didn't have that knowledge. And I would
okay.
be the first person to admit that I didn't have that knowledge. So
Yeah,
it
yeah.
ended up not being like a good fit in terms of knowledge.
That specific subject matter expertise. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
like the interview was amazing, but it was like
A neat
in-depth.
experience.
I mean, yeah, they would ask questions and a lot of it was theory. They want to see how you work through different problems.
Oh wow. Oh,
And
so it was like problem solving. So it was more of like the written answers on a quiz versus the multiple choice. That's awesome.
Yeah, no, it was great though. Like everyone there was super great. I was actually super bummed when it didn't work out, but I understood because I don't know. Like I just knew that going in I didn't necessarily have exactly what they were looking for. So
Yeah, but that's all right. You can't, like you said, you just got to keep trying. So where are you now? What company are you with now?
I'm with Cigna.
Oh wow. Okay. Wow. Small little startup in the healthcare industry.
Well, so it's actually smaller than the last company I was at. I was at Accenture before I went to Cigna.
Oh, that's right. Oh my God. What was life like at Accenture?
It was crazy.
Yeah, that's a tough life. Just, I mean, I'm sure you racked up the miles.
Mm-hmm. And it was fine for like I don't mind traveling. I'm in a good spot in life to travel. I know like I had a lot of coworkers that had like families and kids and stuff, and it gets a lot harder when you're in that place. I'm like living on my own, stuff like that, so I can just pick up and go wherever.
Yeah,
But
living out of a suitcase and
yes, I liked it. I ultimately was just looking for something different role wise. I felt like I was kind of in a narrow scope, and I wanted a little bit more creativity, I guess. And that's kind of why I ended up doing engineering instead of just being analyst.
Oh, okay. So what are you focused on learning right now? Like what is the thing driving you at the moment that you just know nothing about and you're in the process of learning?
I am like knee deep in AWS right now.
So like Elastic Beanstalk and
like
CloudFront and all
everything.
that. Are you doing anything with APIs? I thought I saw some API tweets from you recently. You're doing some with APIs, right?
Yep, doing a lot of that. Doing some cool stuff. Like they've got a lot of really cool offerings too. So really just becoming familiar with a lot of that and understanding the cloud structure and how it's different from just having servers in front of you.
So are you architecting right now? So you're architecting their security controls for the cloud as they continue their digital transformation strategy?
I guess it's an interesting, I guess there's some architecting. It's a lot of just you're talking to different teams trying to figure out the best way to do what they want to do in the cloud. I guess, yeah, that kind of stuff. So it's a little bit of everything. I like it because it's really outside the box. Like if I get an idea, the team's like, oh, let's do this. And like, they want to run with it. So it's really, really cool because sometimes you're like, hey, like this sounds crazy, but I think it would be really cool if we explored this. And they're like, all right, let's do it. And the creativity is really, really fun.
So it's a very collegial atmosphere there. You can, your colleagues want to work with you on stuff and no one works in a vacuum.
Yeah, everyone's like super, and there'll even be like times on our team when someone's working on something really interesting and I'll be like, hey, can you include me in that meeting? Like, I just want to be a fly on the wall, learn more about what you're doing. And they're like, okay, awesome. And
it's amazing.
It's a lot of that.
That's rare. That's very rare.
I love it. So
that's awesome. So so right now you're drinking the cloud security Kool-Aid. That's like the big thing for you right now.
Yeah, I am like knee deep. Like I said, so I decided that I was just going to go ahead and go for the solutions architect certification.
Oh, wow.
So I have been studying for that, and I was going to get ready to take it, and then they changed it. So
Oh no. Oh my God. Well, good luck on that. Oh my God. So now do you have to go get a new book now? There's a new revision or what?
yeah, I think it doesn't come out until like the end of the year, but there's like,
Oh, wow.
I know like some of the online resources have like, it's more like a filling the gap. Like it almost covers a lot of the same stuff. And then there's just like a couple things that they dropped and a couple things that they added. So
Where do you get your knowledge on stuff? Like, so if you were to give advice to anyone out there who wants to learn about cloud security, do you mainly just rock out Kindle, or like what is your go-to for information or
a
learning?
little bit of everything, man. I just got a Kindle this weekend. So
Okay.
I finally bit the bullet. I'm a hardcover kind
I
of.
can tell. I can tell. By the way, you have a sick apartment. I saw I was stalking your previous tweets, and I was like, oh my God, you posted pictures or something of your new apartment. I was like, holy God. When did you move in?
About a month ago.
Wow. So it is very new. Yeah. It's a lot of books. A lot.
I know. That was like one of the first things I unpacked. I just missed they've been in storage for like a couple years now, because I was kind of between like, I left that bad relationship where the guy told me I wouldn't make it in security.
So I assumed you guys weren't together anymore.
No.
You're like 20 years, pound sand, I'm out.
Yeah. So I was excited to have them unpacked. I mean, I learn really well from books. I'm trying to embrace the Kindle thing because it's convenient.
Well, yeah, like you can have like 1,000 books with you without having to shove all those books into a backpack. Like,
especially with the amount I travel, like.
Yeah, no kidding. No kidding.
That person that has a backpack full of books on the airplane.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, so the Kindle has been good. I actually do a lot of, and this sounds crazy, but bear with me. Reddit has some really good.
Really? Oh, I was expecting you to say like LinkedIn Learning or something. Oh, wow.
No, Reddit has some really, really good. I found like so many good resources and articles and stuff on there. People post up like the programs that they write. Sometimes they'll be like, hey, check out what I put on GitHub. And you're just like, oh, that's really cool. And you end up learning about something you didn't know. But yeah, there's like an AWS community on there. There's like a Blue Team community. There's a network security community. I mean, pretty much anything you want. And they're all pretty good as far as people not being horrible. Because I know Reddit can be.
Yeah, like, oh yeah. I mean, you run into it's a very colorful place. That's for sure. Oh my God.
You can find anything you're looking for there, but.
True. Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, that's a good spot for the solutions architect. I've been using like there's a course on Udemy that's been really good. I don't know.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Try mixed media. Like sometimes I read, sometimes I listen, sometimes I watch, sometimes I'll like find labs, you know.
That's awesome. Well, are you planning on going after any certifications like your OSCP or anything like that, or?
I would love to do OSCP. I feel like I need a little bit more experience because I know that one is super intense.
It's super hard. Yeah, but you know what? Hey, it's that whole reach for the stars and you'll fall in the clouds, right? So.
Yeah. So I'm actually I have one in progress that I kind of put on hold for a little while just to finish the AWS stuff since it's more relevant to what I'm doing right now.
Yeah.
But the eLearn security, the junior pen tester one, it's supposed to be like, it's set up really similarly to the OSCP apparently, but it's like rudimentary.
Yeah.
But it gets you in that mindset of like the practical exam and not sitting there answering questions.
What I was excited to see about with the OSCP was it was finally something outside of SANS Institute. It was like, oh, no more $7,000 training courses at SANS. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I went to schedule the Amazon one. I was like, it's $150. Like, that's it? It's only $150.
Yeah, like you're expecting 5,000 or something like that.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So, yeah, I'd like to do that one. I actually really, and people laugh at me for this, but I really want to go back and like get a Cisco like networking certification.
Oh, really? Like a CCNA or something?
Yeah, I think CCNA would be what I would want to go for. And I know they have like a security one too, CCNA security that you can do. So that could be interesting. But I actually really enjoy the network side of things and I want to learn more about it.
Yeah, that was me. I took the GCA course at SANS, and I'm a huge packet monkey. Like, I used to love just looking at packet headers and payloads, and I mean, especially if you're more analytical, which it sounds like I can understand that you would dig that.
Yeah, I mean, a network operates similar to a brain, right? So
Yeah, exactly. Very true. Very true. Oh, good analogy. So what's next for Gabby? What's
Man, I don't
next
know.
chapter?
I'm kind of at like a crazy, like I had to like pump the brakes for a second. One with coronavirus, like keeping it.
Yeah.
But two, like just moving to a new place and starting a new job all within the last couple months. I've been like, wow, I need to figure out what I'm doing. I don't know. I'd like to talk more at conferences. I mean, I've talked to a couple, but it's not like what I want to do. Like, that's not my end goal. Really just learn more. I mean, I've been a lot of books to read.
Yeah, catch up on reading and
yeah, I just really
learning new
want to
things.
become more well-rounded. I want to start doing more hands-on stuff too. With medical devices, which I know is really hard to get your hands on, but I think I've done enough analyzing from kind of like 30,000 feet that I want to play with them and see what I can do, and same thing, I want to learn more. Actually, on my list of things that I really want to do is learn more about vehicle security, embedded device security.
Yeah, I'm sure there's someone you can reach out to for that, for some help.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, no, to me, I've always, really, and I'm sure you know this, I've always focused on the more labyrinthine areas of security. Just, it sounds like and that's how you cut your teeth, was in medical devices. It's just an area that not many people understand, and that's great.
Well, I have to say that your book, I mean, that's such an area where it's hard to find any good resources.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's, and I think that was really, for me, the impetus behind writing it was, there really isn't anything out there on it. You Google it and it's a lot of the same kind of Chrysler G-Pack stuff, and there's really no, step-by-step from cradle to grave. This is how you do it. So that was the attempt with the book. So
yes, that's why I was so excited about it. And yeah, I mean, I know it's one of those things where I kind of know it from another perspective. I understand, like, as a mechanic what you're doing, so I kind of want to like see it from the side, like the security side of things now, and figure out, oh, okay, like this is what's going on the back end. And
well, I'm looking forward to your review of it. I'm excited to see your review. So thank you. Well, I'm excited we finally got to talk and get to know each other better. This has been amazing. So, how can people find you on social media and connect with you? And
on Twitter, I'm Gab Cash. I think people know me better by that than they do by like my actual name now, which is fun. LinkedIn, I'm Gabrielle Hempel.
Okay.
Those are really my two social medias. I mean, I have like
Twitter and LinkedIn. Yeah.
That is so far.
Well, I wish you luck. I definitely want to have you back and continue to check in with you as you continue down this path in your career, and continue to just check up on you. You're an amazing story, and I love telling these kind of stories, and so it gives other women and just other people in general just an idea of how to actually break into this industry, and learning from those who have. Your background outside of cybersecurity is amazing for you to break down those kind of walls. So you should be very proud of yourself. Amazing.
Thank you. No, I really enjoyed talking to you. I mean, I literally, like I said, fangirled when you like asked me for it. I was like, oh my God, what? And
What's happening?
No, seriously, I was so excited. And yeah, maybe we can do something with like embedded security or something.
Let's team up on something. I know Tesla announced that $1 million car hack, so I mean, love to work together on that, and you could shadow me, and I could shadow you and learn from you, and you could teach me some things, and we'll do something together. It'll be fun. But I don't know if you saw that satellite hack too that was announced. Did you see that satellite hack thing? that came out from, I think it was the U.S. Air Force. It was like hack a satellite or hack a bird or something.
I see that.
Yeah.
I was like, that's cool.
Yeah, they were going to do it for DEF CON, and now I think because it's virtual, they're trying to move it all online now, so it's going to be virtual. But yeah, I'll pass you some info on that. I was planning on participating in that, so it'd be cool to just.
The release today with Apple doing their card keys via mobile.
Yeah, that's crazy. They made some crazy announcements. What did you think about that?
I don't know, and I posted about it, and like I got a lot of really mixed opinions. Some people were like, "You're stupid if you think that people could hack that," and then like other people are like, "Oh my god, it's communicating through iMessage. Like I will never use this." So it's really interesting. I'm really curious, and I'm curious as to how it, interacts with the car as well.
Yeah, that should be interesting. Yeah, I think there's a lot of. I think vulnerability research in that area is just going to continue to grow, and we need more researchers in this area. We need more input. We need more ideas, and so it's exciting. I'm looking forward to continuing to follow it and contribute. So
For sure.
All right. Well, you take care, Gabrielle. Thank you again for being on the show, and I will see you in the next episode when we interview you again.
Sounds good. Thank you so much.
I'm sorry. Now we must part ways. Thanks for joining me for another episode of Knight TV. And if you haven't yet, please definitely subscribe to my channel by hitting that subscribe button. Hit that bell icon. Ooh, totally just hit myself in the face. Unfortunately, we must say goodbye at this point. Thanks for joining me for another episode of Knight TV. If you haven't yet done so, please support my content by hitting that subscribe button, by hitting that bell icon to be notified of new uploads and live broadcasts when I do them every week. And if you want to learn more about hacking and securing embedded systems, this is definitely the channel that you want to be at. Take a look around, look at my playlist, look at my other videos, especially my new series on hacking BLE smart locks, and I will see you in the next episode of Knight TV.
Greg went out looking for a hack.